What's up, Taiwan? I'm Louise with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The president of Taiwan's state-owned power company has stepped down suddenly. Wang Yaoting announced his resignation from Taiwan Power Company, or Taipower, on Saturday. His departure from the main electricity supplier comes after a week of sporadic blackouts in some of Taiwan's most densely populated areas. They were due to high usage. The frequent blackouts have brought Taiwan's power supply into question. The Economy Ministry says it will try to negotiate to keep Wang in his post. A southern Taiwan city is planning to put its waste to use by turning a sewage plant into a hydroelectric power generator. Kaohsiung wants to install hydro turbines next to a tank used to disinfect wastewater. Engineers say the turbines could generate over 1 million kilowatt hours of energy per year, which could supply energy to around 100 households per day. Local energy officials hope to complete the project by the end of the year.
采用招商的方式进来，希望由民间来做投资、新建以及后续的维护成本的负担。
Artists in Taipei have held a music festival to raise money for the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. Alternative music collectives in Taiwan's punk and techno scene hosted Saturday's event, which also included a talk on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The Enclave's health ministry says more than 34,000 Palestinians have been killed since the Israeli-Hamas war began in October. The organizers say proceeds will go towards emergency humanitarian aid efforts. They say the event is an opportunity for people in Taiwan to show solidarity with Palestinians.
那音乐有机会可以去触及这样子的人，然后让这个议题大家可以更去用同理的方式，然后去设身处地的去理解巴勒斯坦人的处境。
Newlyweds look forward to building a life together, but for couples where one spouse is stateless, it can be harder to find happiness. Sandy Chi reports on the struggles of one Tibetan exile and his family.
Playing a song from the place he once called home, Turing is a Tibetan exile living in eastern Taiwan. After a long struggle, he and his family had built a life for themselves in Hualien, far from his birthplace in China. At 19, Turing left Tibet to meet its former leader, the Dalai Lama, in India. His trek across the Himalayas marked his first steps into exile.
那时候我就是办那个 IC， 我们叫 IC， 它是一个雷同护照的，印度政府跟流亡政府发的。我那天就比较紧张，这样，因为印度的警察会受访。
While living as a stateless person in India, Turing fell in love with a Taiwanese citizen, Tai Jong City. The two married in 2009.
明明我们是合法，全部都是正常，连小孩都有了，就是好像我没办法自由。
As a stateless person, Turing was barred from working and having permanent residency in Taiwan. For years, he had to leave the country every 6 months and apply for a visa in India. The process took upwards of a month and cost his family almost $4,000 each time.
来了台湾很自由，但我都不能工作，每天都在看小孩，这样就是去哪里都居留证都没有的嘛，就是心里面好像我的未来好像都是，就是用藏文形容的，好像乌云密布这样，什么都看不到。
Though the marriage was recognized by both Taiwan and India, Turing's status meant he could not live in Taiwan permanently. When moving to Taiwan, he and his family had to do the interview while overseas, and they felt humiliated.
然后再来，他们还会问一个最不能问的，就是你们第一次性交是在何时？这是不能问的，但是他们问，所以我觉得他们带有歧视。
In their quest for a normal life, Turing and his wife sought help from the Taiwan-based Union of Excluded Immigrants and Unwanted Citizens.
如果在当时2010年的时候，很现实的困难就是 生活上经济花费的困难，还有一种困难是心境上的，就是你不知道你什么时候可以拥有一般人的生活。
Turing and his family fought for their right to be together for 9 years. Their case has highlighted the issue facing transnational marriages in Taiwan.
当然，真正的自由就是心里面没有任何恐惧，你想要说什么就说什么，这样。你想要做什么就做什么，你想要住哪里就住哪里，不用问任何人，这样。
Turing finally obtained his citizenship in Taiwan in 2018. He now spends his time singing songs with his family and living free in his new home. Joseph Wu and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
A US Navy admiral says Taiwan's military can take a cue from Israel's mobilization efforts.
Israel receives a horrible, just unforgivable terrorism act that slaughtered 1,200 of their citizens. And the next day, 360,000 Israelis mobilized in one day.
The head of the US Indo-Pacific Command, John Aquilino, says that China has no problem enlisting soldiers, whereas Taiwan is struggling to recruit enough troops. The Admiral says Washington remains committed to supporting Taiwan in the face of China's escalating military intimidation. Meanwhile, the foreign ministers of G7 nations have wrapped up a summit in Italy. In their joint declaration, they reaffirmed the importance of stability in the Taiwan Strait for the prosperity of the global community. The US owes Taiwan close to $20 billion in military hardware. American lawmakers are now trying to lessen the backlog. As Leslie Liao reports, one bold proposal would allow US weapons to be manufactured right here in Taiwan.
Taiwan needs weapons to defend itself against threats from neighboring China. Beijing claims the country as part of its territory and has not ruled out an invasion to bring it under control. To bolster its military, Taiwan has been buying up billions of US dollars worth of weapons from the United States. But Taiwan isn't getting the weapons it's purchased, and the backlog is now worth close to $20 billion US dollars. What's the holdup? Supply chain issues, labor shortages, and shifting geopolitical priorities on the US end. Now, a group of bipartisan US lawmakers is proposing a bold new solution. Instead of waiting for arms deliveries from overseas, why not build US weapons in Taiwan? Under the proposal, Taiwan would be licensed to build US military hardware on its soil. But to pull off something like this comes with risks. China frequently carries out cyber attacks on Taiwan. If US weapons are allowed to be built here, China could get its hands on US intelligence.
We've seen that in the hearing last month, the House of Representatives, Mr. Matt Gaetz, also questioned that whether Taiwan's military has been infiltrated by the spies from China.
The potential for intelligence leaks is something Taiwan's ruling politicians also acknowledge.
可以来台湾生产的话，是有利于台湾的这个国防能力。但是他们提到的相关的这些可能的泄密的部分，我确实也认为这是必须要去改进，继续去增强。
And because of these intelligence risks, military analysts think that U.S. hardware production in Taiwan would be limited.
不管是飞弹或者战斗机这一类，甚至弹药，那么跟我们合作的话，你也知道我们这边比较容易泄密，就是我不太可能把这些技术转移到台湾来，所以以零件为主。
China has made it clear it has its sights set on Taiwan. And with Taipei working to strengthen its military, the U.S.'s most recent proposal shows both countries are willing to get creative to make sure Taiwan has the defenses it needs in a worst-case scenario. Scott Huang and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
It's the 20th anniversary of a law that changed the way Taiwan teaches kids about gender. One notable change, schools have gone from focusing on men and women to embracing multiple genders. The 8 calendars on the wall all stop at the same date, April the 20th, 1989. This was the day third grade student Ye Yongzhi was found dead in his school's restroom after being bullied because he was seen as too feminine.
每年当我们在做这个日子的教学的时候，其实，只要有新闻露出，我想就会激发他的伤心往事。
Ye's death led to a new law to promote respect for gender diversity. An exhibition now marking the 20th anniversary of that law includes a recording from Ye's mother, encouraging people who may be struggling because of their gender identity.
不管你们碰到什么挫折，不管什么，你们不要中途跳车呢。
Taiwan's education minister says the past 20 years have seen an improvement in acceptance of gender differences.
特别希望提醒我们的孩子能够从认识差异、了解差异以及尊重差异的这样方式能够让台湾的社会在性别平等方面能够不断的在提升。
According to one legislator who visited the exhibition, verbal discrimination still exists in schools, and she says teachers sometimes take the lead.
但是老师可能完全没有意识到，或者是很多爸爸妈妈他们会把自己的这样的价值观不知不觉放在家庭教育当中，那孩子带到学校去，他又造成另外的歧视。
The legislator believes that teaching gender diversity starts with schools. And this exhibition is a reminder that the fight for an inclusive society is not over. A Taiwanese drag queen has been crowned the winner of the reality competition show RuPaul's Drag Race. President Tsai Ing-wen congratulated Nymphia Wind for being the first person from Taiwan on the show. Nymphia is known for making her own outfits, often using bananas, yellow, and elements of Taiwanese culture. She's a well-established drag queen in Taiwan, often performing at traditional venues like temples and wet markets. Nymphia dedicated her victory to the country. President Tsai has championed LGBTQ rights throughout her presidency, with Taiwan becoming the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. An area in Taiwan's second-largest city is getting a makeover by going back in time. Let's take a look at the young people who dedicated a decade to preserving some of what made Tai Jong City stand out. The area around Tai Jong City's railway station was once a flourishing economic hub. The crowds and businesses have trickled away, but now some of the young people in Taiwan's second-largest city are trying to revive the vigor of its heyday.
大概在这个范围内就有5间百货公司，像这么多百货公司里面一定会有硬体设备的需求，然后它有维修的需求，然后他们就会call师傅要去修理，所以那个产业整个是完全联动在一起的。
These young residents press the local government to preserve the area's cultural heritage as they redevelop areas of the city, such as these historic train tracks, which were meant to be torn up.
在地的文史的团队觉得这个空间其实是一个很重要的文化资产。那如果它能够被保留下来，然后做一定的公共开放的使用，它其实对于这个城市的一些历史的价值有很重要的意义。
These activists weren't even born when this area of Taichung was in its prime. But after 10 years of dedicated work, they've managed to bring back some of the sparkle it lost along the way. Now, seabirds are getting a helping hand as people on Taiwan's northeast coast are cleaning up the beaches just in time for the breeding season. Seabirds lay their eggs on Yilan's beaches between May and August. The local Wild Bird Society suggests beach cleanups to prepare. Event organisers also set up booths and held performances to promote environmental conservation. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, check out these images of an upcoming exhibition in Pingdong County featuring animal wood sculptures made by Japanese artists. I'm Louise Watt. Take care. We'll see you next time.